Hi, I'm John and welcome back to my Lair of Action Figures, where I'll be talking and reviewing action figures from different manufacturers. Today I'm going to be having a closer look at Anakin Skywalker. This is the Revenge of the Sith version. So of course the reason I decided to go to do this figure, it's because Hot Toys has just released the rooted hair version, or what they call the artisan version. So there are of course two versions of it. There's the regular Anakin, and you will also have the dark side version. So of course these are not the rooted hair ones. I'll go into an explanation why I'm not a fan of the rooted hair, and I don't think it's worth $500 or even more if you're going to have to buy it from a secondary market. Anyway, let's have a look at this figure while the box is spinning. So what can I tell you about this figure? So this figure went up for pre-order on the 30th of August 2017 and came out in July of 2018, so nearly a year later. So of course we're going to be going on the prices of it and what is also the numbers. So of course if you have purchased it from Asia or from most of the countries in Asia, you will be knowing this figure as MMS437 in the Hot Toy Movie Master series. And if you purchase it through Sideshow, you will have purchased it under the item number 903139. So those are the two numbers. Of course, the suggested retail price for this figure was $235 at the time. Of course, this does not include shipping, nor does it include the taxes. So of course that will bring it up, depending where you are, a bit higher up, and I think they were charging about $20 or $30 of shipping. So yeah, you could count about $280 for this figure. Let's dive into what we have in the box. So let's talk a bit history about the movie. So the movie came out in 2005, to be more precise, May 19th in the US, May 18th in Switzerland. This movie also premiered at the Film Festival of Cannes in May 16th of 2005. Of course, we all know that Anakin Skywalker is played by Hayden Christensen. Now, let's be honest, Revenge of the Sith is the best one of the three movies of the prequel. Now, of course, I know that some people don't like it. I have one of my best friends out there does not like at all the prequel, thinks it's garbage, and they didn't do a very good job. But anyway, we're not here to debate about the movie. I'm just giving you my points of view, and I guess maybe Clone Wars kind of made those movies a bit better. But anyway, now that we have talked a bit history about this, let's dive into what we get in the box. Now, of course, we do get Anakin Skywalker, so I've put the gloves on due to the fact that there's some pleather and I don't want to put my hands on it. Of course, we get his Jedi robe that he has at the beginning of the movie. We also get an arm over here with the lightsaber. We get, of course, his lightsaber that you can attach to the hilt. We have his prosthetic arm over here, who's pretty well detailed. We also have Count Dooku's lightsaber, and we also have the lightsaber blade for his Anakin. So at that time they didn't have these different little effects. Of course, we have some extra pegs, the little pieces, if just in case they fall out, and we get a couple of hands who go with the figure. We'll be having a closer look at those afterwards. Of course, we also get the figure stand that we'll be having a closer look afterwards, and we get the little manual of what we have to do or what we should not be doing with this figure. So of course, sadly, I do not know where that one is located, so of course I cannot really show it to you. Anyway, let's have a closer look at the figure itself, and let's start by the boots. Now the boots are pretty nice. As you can see, they're made out of this leather kind of material. Now, as you can see, there's some creases over here and here. I don't know how well these boots will age, so this is something that is a bit problematic due to the fact that anybody who knows pleather, this fake leather, knows that it has a tendency of breaking and falling apart after a little while, especially if you live in a warm country with high humidity. This is something who is really bad for it. I would have preferred to have those boots in plastic and have like a little cover over here so that the ankles could move and you could give it a bit more dynamic pose. The fact of moving it around, as you can see, is going to bring some creasing into the leather. That's a bit of a shame. Of course, we have also the same pleated over here. Of course, the pants, the belt is also made out of this material. And this is something who's always a bit worrying. As you can see, we have little accessories on him, pouches, we have the place to attach his lightsaber. Of course, we have the gauntlet over here, and we also have his hand. I went with this kind of pose. As you can see, we also have his force waving hand. And let's have a look at the thing who's the most interesting, is the head sculpt. Now, of course, I was talking about the real hair effect, and personally, I think it doesn't look good. The way that the sculpted hair falls, the way it looks, I think it looks a lot better. Now, of course, I can understand some people are going to be pointing out and saying, well, yeah, no, I disagree with you and I don't have a problem with it. But the fact of having the hair in place like this gives it a lot better effect. The reason why I'm saying this is most of all the Hot Toys I ever got who had real hair, I'm going to take the example of Baby Doll over here. As you can see, there's hair going all over the place. So as long as it's in the box, you can see the hair is not really well combed. There's little pieces sticking out left and right. You can see how the hair goes over there. Sorry. You can see it goes all over the place. So having this kind of real hair has a bit of a problem. And even if you're trying to comb it down, you can see it goes all over the place. And as long as it's in the box with the little plastic wrap around it, the figure itself is going to look good. But this real hair, you could have molded this hair, would have worked a bit better. Or even if you wanted to go a bit further and you didn't want it to, you have this part who's molded, and you could have put this as not molded. This would have given it, but as you can see, it goes all over the place. And that's the reason why I am not a fan of the rooted hair, because it has a tendency of not really working from my point of view. And not only that, sometimes has a tendency of a bit falling off and doesn't look good. I haven't relocated my Black Widow from Iron Man 2, but that one had rooted hair, and some of the hair is falling out of the figure. Well, it's not the only problem, but anyway, that's going to be for another video. So let's continue talking about our great friend Anakin Skywalker over here. As you can see, details are really fantastic. The head sculpt is really, really well done. I know I'm repeating myself, but the way the hair falls, the other things like this, it looks pretty neat, of course. Anyway, I'm going to remove these gloves, like I will not be touching this figure straight away anymore. So, of course, let's dive into the weapons. Now, of course, we have Count Dooku's lightsaber, because this is, of course, the figure from the beginning of the movie, right to the moment he becomes Darth Vader. So, of course, it was an interesting accessory to give Count Dooku's lightsaber. Of course, we have Anakin's lightsaber. This one is the one that you will clip on the belt, or that you want to have if you don't want to use the light effect. As you can see, it works pretty neatly. It's really simple. Clips it in and works perfectly. Of course, as I have already opened this figure, and you have already seen some short videos or some pictures I had took of this figure, so you will see them. You can go and have a look at on Facebook. So of course, the 3 little batteries that go over here, you have a little screw over here that you will unscrew to put the batteries in, and of course you should plug it in, as simple as this, and then you turn it on and you have the lightsaber effect. Now, for me, something a bit weird about this part of it is that you don't really have any movement in the wrist, so you cannot really bend it the way you want. You will have to leave it in a straight position and then use the articulation of the arm to give the spinning, or the way you want to have it. So this is something that is a bit problematic. I know right now that Hot Toys has gone on to the USB version with the cables. Yeah, it's a win situation on one side and a loss on the other, but I will be doing that when I have one with the USB, and I will be showing you the reason why I still prefer this version, even if it doesn't have. Now here we have the mechanic arm. Of course, we all remember that Anakin got his arm chopped off by Count Dooku in episode 2, so of course this is the arm. And if you're looking at it, sorry, trying to get there. It's hard to get this kind of Okay, so here, as you can see, there's a lot of detail going on. I mean, Hot Toys did something really fantastic with it. Trying to refocus. As you can see, there's a lot of details. All the fingers move. You can really do something pretty amazing with this figure over here, due to the fact that everything moves. This is something that is really neat that Hot Toys did. So of course we're going to be having a look also at the extra glove hands and the regular hands. Of course we have kind of a force push hands. We have the waving fingers hand over here. As you can see, you know, this opening items with it, or just force pushing or force choking also can work. We have a hand who's done to hold a lightsaber, also pretty neat. Then afterwards we have the regular hands where he didn't get his arm chopped up yet, so of course you have the fist version, and you also have it over here. You have a bit of a gripping position, you have another one to hold the second lightsaber, and then you have the hand open palms like this. So really, basically most of the hands that you would need to have it. Of course you will have the extra pegs over here, who are pretty interesting in case if it breaks. And of course, like I was saying over here, if you lose, I know it's going to be hard to see, oops, sorry, let's see, there we are. As you can see, those are little clips that can undo themselves. Oops, let's not be careful. As you can see over here, this kind of stuff has a tendency of falling off. So luckily for me, I never had any of those things falling off. So yes, it is pretty neat. Of course, we have the Jedi robe. Of course, we have this metal parts in it, so you can give it a bit of a shape and it stays in shape. So this is pretty neat. Anyway, let's get this figure up. Let me tell you what I think about this figure. And do I think it's a collectible figure? And what would be my note out of 10 for this figure? So, what do I think is this figure has a collectible value? Well, for me, for now, it still does, because let's be honest, the rooted hair version is not so good, due to the fact that it's become very hard to get with limited edition of I don't know how many. And again, this is another little trick with Hot Toys. They're telling you, well, we're giving you a limited edition figure. We're saying we're giving you 2,000, 2,501. But when you have a box, you will never get how many figures are really released, because you don't know what's the number on your figure. So they could tell you that they released 2,000 people, 2,500, and they could have made 3,000 if they wanted to, due to the fact that there is not really any kind of proof that you have the number X of 2,500. So of course, let's try to gear him up and put this overhead. As you can see, I would have liked to have a bit maybe more tissue about it, but yeah, like I said, when I was talking about our how do you call it, the collectible value of it, yeah, I think this one still is going to hold up. I guess we're going to be getting sometime soon a 2.0 version of this guy, because there's no way Hot Toys is going to mess on it. And of course, they're going to do a few extra stuff. I guess we're going to get the lightsaber with the light ups and all of that. But anyway, this is why I think it still holds some value, and for me this is the best version, because you're not going to pay between $1,000 or $1,500 for this figure with rooted hair. Now, of course, this is why I believe this figure still has a collectible value. Now, what are my final thoughts about this figure, and what would be my note out of 10 on this figure? Now, I'm going to be giving this figure an 8 out of 10. I mean, Hot Toys did a really good job on it, and they really did some interesting things, or features, if we can say, on it. The head sculpt is nice, the accessories are nice, the extra arm is nice, all of this. Now, I mean, we could have got a light up for Count Dooku's weapon. You could have put the other hand also over there with the effect. The fact of getting only this and not the second effect, like a movement, is a bit of a shame, but in those days they didn't do it. And personally, this is why I will be giving it also this note of out of 8 out of 10. Now, another part of it that I really don't like, and I didn't really talk about it, the stand is the basic stand. But I mean, Hot Toys, you could have molded this directly into the plastic over here. I know you've did it before for Han Solo. There's some other figures who have this molded, and why would you want to have this as a stick-on over here? I mean, if there would be, I can understand you say, well, hey, we have interchangeable, but here you're going to be gluing this on, trying to get it as a perfect fit, no bubbles, nothing. I mean, you could have molded it. Sideshow did it for the Scum Infinity Bounty Hunters, Boba Fett has it, IG-11 has it, and they did everything molded. Not only they molded it, but there's a light up system. So personally, this stand is not so good, and this is why I wanted to keep it for the end of the review, talking about it. But personally, I'm not a fan of this stand, so this is why for this figure is getting an 8 out of 10. So that's going to be it for my review of Anakin Skywalker from Hot Toys. If you like this kind of review, please leave a like, share, comment in the section. If you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comment section. If you want to go and check out some cool pictures I did of this figure, go and check them out on my Facebook page, Instagram page. The links will be in the description of this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the video. This helps out a lot. Until then, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!